Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to this Cabinet meeting and quickly go over some general housekeeping. This meeting is being held in person at County Hall and is also being streamed live on the County Council's YouTube channel. The recording will also be available to view afterwards. A fire alarm test is not expected during the meeting, so if the alarms sound, we must evacuate County Hall. In the event of an emergency, please make your way to the nearest exit and meet at the muster point located on the main car park. When using your microphone, please make sure it's switched on and speak towards it. This will tell the cameras to focus on you and ensure you can be heard on the live stream. When you finish speaking, please push the button and to turn it off, and this will allow the system to pick up the next speaker. So, first item on the agenda is apologies for absence, please.
We've received apologies today from Councillor Alison Thomas.
Thank you. Second item on the agenda is the minutes. So we need to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on Monday the 4th of August 2025, and they are starting on page 5. So can I ask that I can sign those as a true record, please? Thank you. Item 3 is declarations of interest. So do any Cabinet members have any interests they wish to declare? No one is indicating. Item 4 is matters referred to Cabinet from select committees or by full council, and we don't have any on the agenda. And item 5 is updates from the Chair or Cabinet members. Has anyone got any updates they wish to give? Nobody is indicating. So we'll move on then to item 6, which is public question time. And we've had a list of public questions, and there are written responses which have been circulated and published on the website. We do have a member of the public with us, Mr. Bert Bremner, who's attending to ask a supplementary question. So I will now hand over to you.
Thank you very much for allowing me to follow up. The question has been answered in detail, but not about my question. And I'd like to emphasise that I was referring quite clearly to the problems related to the Chapel Field, Grapes Hill roundabout, and that whole area of the southern part of the city centre related to the Chantry car park and how it was dealt with in the past. And basically, my question is, as it says on the question, quite clearly, with Christmas approaching, what plans do Norfolk have to stop these jams happening at that point in the city to let people get in and out of the city easy, and importantly, to let the city centre businesses thrive over Christmas?
Thank you. If you'd like to turn your microphone off, thank you. Councillor Plant, did you want to respond?
Yes, thank you. It's quite an interesting conundrum, isn't it? The city has a new road system where you circumnavigate the centre, and Chapel Field Roundabout is a key element of that. And it was all part of the Transport for Norwich Board's intention is to try and reduce the amount of people coming in by car, hence we've got the park and ride, and we have the barrel bikes and the e-scooters, and 26% uptake on bus services as well, coming in and out of the city. And I understand you were on a bus and were held up by the traffic, which is quite interesting because all the traffic's been put on that particular piece of road for the city centre, which was agreed by Norfolk, by City Council as well. It's part of their plan that the County Council built out for them, but was really part of the city's intention to try and pedestrianise the centre of the town, the city itself. Access to Chapel Field, down the dual carriageway element of it, was always thought to be enough in previous plans for access to the Chapel Field at busy times and allow traffic to go down the right-hand lane and bypass it, the queues that is. I think we'll keep an eye on the traffic jams if they occur at Chapel Field, and if during the course of the period of Christmas it shows that there is a hold-up on the Chapel Field roundabout, which is the arterial route around the city, we will have to have a look at how we manage that. But thank you for bringing it to our attention. I am aware that the officers are aware of it, but on the odd occasion that it happens outside of a seasonal uplift, it will happen because it's the arterial route. So I take what you're saying. We'll look at it from a seasonal point of view to make sure that that the road isn't blocked during a seasonal period, but we can't do it all year round because obviously that's the design of the road and it was intended to be that way. Thank you.
Thank you. I know what you're talking about, and we are going to get congestion in the city. Unfortunately, it's inevitable, but we'll work very closely with the police and we'll try and stop some of the queues that you get back from the Chapel Field car park there. That's one of the issues, isn't it? It blocks the road. And I think we need to, we'll work closely with the police about how we stop people queuing all the way back to that roundabout and causing issues. But people want to go shopping, don't they? Maybe we can encourage them to use the other car parks. And that was one of the reasons why we reopened Exchange Street, because we didn't want a bottleneck around City Hall and the car parks that are there. It gives people the opportunity to get out of the city in other ways, because if there'd been an accident, we would have ended up with a complete log jam. So we are trying to keep the city flowing as best we can, but of course it is a medieval city, wasn't built for modern day traffic. So with the police, we just have to do the best we can. We'll monitor it.
If I can just come back, Chairman, on the other entrance to Chapel Field, there is a sign up that says you can't queue beyond this particular area. We may well look at that and see if that will work for Chapel Field as well.
I think we have a problem. There's a sort of medieval wall in the way, isn't there? So we can't widen the road, unfortunately. I think there might be an objection to that from English Heritage if we tried. Right, so we'll move on then. Item 7 is local member questions. We have the list of local member questions and responses has been circulated and published on the website. And there's no one here to ask a supplementary or who's entitled to, so that is taken as read. So we'll move on to item 8, which is Norfolk Fire and Rescue Service Community Risk Management Plan for 2026 to 2031. It starts on page 11 of your agenda, and I'll ask Councillor Margaret Dewsbury to introduce the report, please.
Thank you. Good morning. Fire services have been required to produce a community risk management plan since 2018. The plan ensures that the fire services approach to prevention, protection and response continues to meet the evolving needs of Norfolk's communities. The challenges we prepare for are changing. Climate-related incidents, demographic shifts, new technologies and lessons learnt from national inquiries all highlight the need for a proactive, forward-thinking approach that is not only responsive but also practical and deliverable to ensure the fire service remains resilient, effective and focused on keeping Norfolk safe. Although various people and organisations have contributed to the thinking behind this plan, once Cabinet has agreed it today, it will go out for public consultation to ensure that it also meets the priorities and expectations of local people. Their views play a vital role in shaping the final version of the plan for the future. I move the recommendation to agree to proceed to public consultation of this draft, which is detailed in this report and at Appendix A, and to agree that the Chief Fire Officer, in consultation with myself, may finalise consultation materials and oversee the delivery of the consultation process. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask if there are any comments or questions on this report, please? I can't see anyone indicating. So this is now going to go out to public consultation. I think we're all aware that although this is a management plan for 2026 to 2031, with devolution on the agenda, assuming that that is approved later this week at the next Cabinet meeting, it is said that the fire service will move under the new Mayoral County Combined Authority in the future, in conjunction with the Suffolk Fire Service as well. And we have had visits from MHCLG officials already to talk to us about this. And I made it very plain to them that the two fire services in the two counties are quite different in their structure, and that this must be handled incredibly carefully, because we don't want to put anyone at risk by us messing about with the administration of the fire service, which our fire service runs incredibly efficiently, and we're very grateful to our Chief Fire Officer for all the work that she does. I was pleased to attend the Fire Service Awards earlier this week, and we saw some outstanding fire personnel there who were winning long service awards, 20, 30, 40, 50 years in the fire service. Quite amazing the dedication they have, alongside the cadets who were there as well. It was a great celebration of all that they do, and we can't put any of that at risk with the move of the fire service into the new Mayoral County Combined Authority. I also asked for them to have another look at per capita spending that we have in our fire service, which is far below the fire services get in other parts of the country. If we could have spending at that sort of level, then we could invest a lot more in new fire stations, new equipment, and in the fast water PPE, which we really, really do need. So we'll take this now out to public consultation. You've heard the recommendations on page 13. Can I ask for all those in favour to please show?
Can I just add?
Yes,
This
certainly.
will actually provide regulation continuity during that period of change from 2020. That's why it's so essential to get everything right that people need.
Thank you. All those in agreement, please show. Thank you very much. So we'll move on then to item 9, which is the Norfolk's Local Nature Recovery Strategy, which is on page 85 and takes up most of this large agenda I have in front of me, which I think is I can use as a doorstop afterwards, because I don't think I've had such a large agenda. But there's the Nature Recovery Strategy is a very important document, so I'm going to hand over to Councillor James Bentley to introduce it, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everybody. Yeah, this is an absolute monster of a document, and my officers and team have produced an introduction for me, which I'll gladly read out in a minute. But I just want to say this is a bit of a tongue twister for a Monday morning, so just please be patient. I think they do it on purpose sometimes, but here we go. The Environment Act of 2021 sets out new legislation to require the production of a new spratical strategies for nature recovery called Local Nature Recovery Strategies. Norfolk County Council is the responsible authority for Norfolk's Local Nature Recovery Strategy, LNRS. Norfolk's County Council is collaboratively closely working with Suffolk County Council due to its shared landscapes and stakeholders, and working together to produce our respective LNRS. This effort has been coordinated through Norfolk and Suffolk Nature Recovery Partnership, which unites stakeholders to drive the strategy altogether. Over the last 3 years, there has been considerable engagement and collaboration across Norfolk with communities, land managers and stakeholders to assess the current state of key habitats in Norfolk and identify priority areas of nature recovery. The LNRS public consultation ran from the 16th of April to the 11th of June 2025, and the strategy is now being updated to take into consultation comments. We are now seeking formal approval from Norfolk County Council before submitting the LNRS to Natural England and DEFRA and publish the final LNRS by the end of October 2025. Today I'm asking Cabinet to approve the Local Nature Recovery Strategy and delegate final signing off to me as Cabinet Lead for the Environment for any final minor amendments that may be required to ensure it's fully accessible, ready for publication and ready to go live on our website. Can I just also highlight, Leader, you mentioned the size of this document. This is a massive, huge, very important document, and I want to give my sincere thanks from myself and this Cabinet to all the officers who were involved in making this, because this is a wonderful example of Norfolk and Suffolk working together for our communities and, well, near enough safeguarding or doing what we can with the tools that we've got for Mother Nature. And let's be honest, she can be volatile sometimes, but she is marvellous, and we are very lucky to live here, and we have to ensure that that is the right thing to do for other generations to come. So I recommend this to all Cabinet members, Leader, and thank you. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Anybody got any questions or comments on this document, please? Councillor Eagle.
Thank you. I welcome this report. It is huge and it covers both Norfolk and Suffolk, but I do think it's very nice that actually it does mention some of our iconic species and areas. I have an interest in saving, should we say, our swifts and our house martins, and I think it's brilliant they're actually mentioned in there and the report to say what they do, and I would encourage anyone to put artificial nest sites up for house martins and swifts, particularly with this dry weather and a lack of sites for those. I've been and visited the Wendling Beck project, as Glenn Anderson, and the Wendling Beck project was a winner of the Rural Business Awards, one of the categories there. It's fantastic to see what they're doing. We also mustn't forget that tourism and nature plays a significant part to tourism for Norfolk, and it's already been mentioned on Radio Norfolk this morning about the Snettisham Spectacular, and you can go and view flocks of murmurations of around 80,000 waders circling around, and it's one of those major spectaculars. And we also have the pink-footed geese that are coming in at Holcombe and across our other areas there that you can see and hear. And I think all of those are major attractions to bring people to our fantastic North Norfolk coast. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Plant.
Yes, thank you. So my job is infrastructure. So trying to get infrastructure developed out is a major part of my brief. And we're working within the landscape of where this document sits, which is obviously Norfolk. But I'm really pleased to see something in here which is on 1.11, which says if a landowner wishes to use some land which is identified as ACB to deliver biodiversity units for purchase by a developer to help them meet a biodiversity net gain requirement, a 15% uplift in the biodiversity metric using this document will be applied if the measures and actions set out in the strategy are followed. For me, that's kind of a tick in the right box where we can develop in certain places where it might be awkward, but we can buy, or the developer can buy credits, thank you, for a biodiversity uplift in another place. So, yeah, just one of the things that I worry about this document, trying to get things developed out in an area where it is so sensitive, and we are very sensitive to that. We do an awful lot of work on the ecology of the areas when we do put in infrastructure, but this particular document will map that out for us and will allow us to look at the areas that could be ACB alternative space for biodiversity. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Jemison.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, as you mentioned, it is a huge piece of work, but I think this strategy does provide a good baseline to bring together a number of the existing programs and management schemes, landscape recovery schemes that we have going already in Norfolk. And because actually of itself, the strategy document doesn't necessarily move things along so much as provide this baseline of information. And it is also a good example of how we are working hard with our Suffolk colleagues. And assuming we do move towards a combined authority shortly, it will be a body of information that will allow that authority to build upon on the assumption that they take over much of the environmental policies. But I'd make the point that here in Norfolk, the AONB, particularly the Norfolk Coastal Partnership, which I'm chairman, has a huge local landscape recovery scheme in progress. 65 landowners and managers working together to achieve this. And it's important that we use our existing capabilities and work is not lost as we transfer to a mayoralty. Thank you.
Councillor Bensley.
Yes, thank you, Chair. If I could just come back to Councillor Eagle, Councillor Plant and Councillor Jamison's comments. That is wonderful to hear, and I'll take it back to my team. But this document is literally there to be a conduit to be able to, for us to provide the maximum we can with what we've got and to keep it as balanced as we can. And Councillor Eagle mentioned some of our fantastic wildlife and nesting season and birds, etc. We are very lucky to live here in Norfolk, because I do honestly believe it is one of the best counties. Suffolk, a close second, but working together, as I say, this report, it can help, as Councillor Jameson rightly said, into delivering growth, improving tourism, improving infrastructure, like Councillor Plant also mentioned, and creating that tourism growth to stimulate the circular economy and to push Norfolk forward, as I said, but in a balanced, environmentally friendly way. So, as I said, thank you for your comments, and thank you, Leader.
Thank you. I'm sure Suffolk will be very gratified to know they come a very close second to Norfolk. But of course, we work very closely with our colleagues there, and we share many things like the Broads. There are Norfolk and Suffolk Broads. I know the majority of them are outside of the boundary, but we equally want to look after the Broads and all our other beautiful landscapes. We do have two very beautiful counties, and it's a great deal of responsibility that we have protecting that landscape and the wildlife that is within it. And it is one of the major attractions why people want to come and live here, and why people want to come here on holiday and bring quite a lot of good money into the economy of Norfolk and Suffolk. I'm hoping that both DEFRA and Natural England will be reading this 400 plus pages document, and maybe we'll be questioning them closely on it to make sure that they have read it and understood what's in it in the future. So I will move you to the recommendations then, which are on page 86. We're being asked to approve the final draft local nature recovery strategy for Norfolk for publication, and to delegate the final sign-off to Councillor James Bensley, subject to minor amendments that may be required. Can I ask for all those in favour to please show? Thank you. That's carried. So we'll then move on to item 10, which is the Norfolk County Council Education Policy and Strategic Programme. Starts on page 498 of your agenda, and I will hand over to Councillor Penny Carpenter to introduce the report, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Leader. Every paper I bring to Cabinet is important. This paper is highly significant, which will have a direct effect on our educational settings, children, families, staff, and Norfolk County Council. This paper outlines Norfolk County Council's Children's Services position in an ever-evolving role within the education sphere, which our Director and Assistant Directors have worked on for many months. We have brought together a fragmented position of Chief Execs, head teachers from within the Schools Forum, to a more positive, outgoing collaboration of schools than there has ever been here in Norfolk. So my thanks and credit must be paid to our senior staff and all members of the Schools Forum. This paper positions children's services in what I would call a driving position, and we have grabbed the nettle to get us to this point in time. Our role has changed, and therefore updating our educational policy framework to reflect our current position, which is crucial. Over time, our role has evolved through successive governments, from one focused on directly managing all schools to a more strategic oversight function. While councils retain statutory duties, the lack of direct responsibility for implementing improvements, coupled with many different types of schools created by different national policy agendas, has resulted in a somewhat fragmented system and delivering mixed results in terms of outcomes for children. In essence, we have different accountabilities and powers with different school types, and often held an overarching responsibility without the full ability to direct individual institutions or groups of schools. Our response to the demographic shifts, changes in legislation, and this also updates our education policy of 2020 and aligns with the Children and Wellbeing Schools Bill currently going through the parliamentary processes. One of the key drivers, including a shift away from direct management of schools to strategic oversight, addresses our falling pupil numbers in primary schools and self-improvement and school system committing to inclusive education and better outcomes for our children. Within the paper, we discuss our role and what we have to navigate in our interaction with schools. Our school landscape attainment levels, and our plan in how we can influence better outcomes by 2029. Our school estate is clearly explained along with the falling pupil numbers, which we clearly have no control over. But I will just pull out a couple of set of figures this morning, which without doubt leaves the reader under no illusion as to the situation. This September 2025, applications for a place in reception was under the 8,000 forecast. The record numbers of live births shared through the health data suggests an ongoing downward trend in coming years, moving towards 6,000 at reception age. The Office of National Statistics reports that the average age of first-time mothers is increasing to 29 in 2023. But in 2003, that age was 27. These figures indicate that changes and this pattern is unlikely to be reversed anytime soon. Combined with the fact that we already have numerous small schools and declining numbers, this will have a significant impact on school viability in numerous areas. When school populations decline, schools will adjust their structures. As an example, some larger schools which previously had 3 classes in each year group could rearrange to have 2 or even 1. In smaller schools, this could mean reducing the number of classes in the school from 4 to 3 or 3 to 2. The population of schools is not a constant. Excess capacity may cause schools to face rapid shifts in pupil numbers, making them unsustainable and leaving communities without viable schools. And we are working with school leaders to prepare for a reduced student intake in this coming year. We have 218 primary schools with fewer than 200 pupils, and 29 have fewer than 50 pupils enrolled in Norfolk, which share an executive head teacher, including 82% of schools with fewer than 100 pupils. In short, Norfolk has more smaller schools than most other local authorities. I stress that we recognise that within the context of falling roles, changes in the number, size and structures of schools in Norfolk is inevitable, and we intend to play a key role in this process, bringing education leaders together to evaluate the right changes to make in the interests of children. Moving on to our education performance and outcomes, again you will find this within your papers. Our secondary attainment is broadly in line with national averages. However, our primary attainment is well below national average, with very little difference between local authority-run schools and others within this group. Key Stage 2, which is age 11, to Key Stage 4, age 16, attainment of standards, reading, writing and mathematics for local authority, academy and free schools can be found on pages 504, 508 and 509. Our proposals for change are found on page 505, but I will just say we are clear that fostering a collaborative education system must serve with everyone's interests, wholly focused on our children, and this can only be achieved through honest, effective partnerships and between schools in which we intend to play a key lead role. As I have previously covered today with falling pupil numbers, changes in size and structures, in addition with the knock-on effect of the school estate, staff and transport costs by bringing interested parties together, making the right changes at the right time. And given Norfolk's diverse school landscape, jointly we will work together with children, very much in the heart of every decision made. At point 2.2, you will find how we envisage our role with the education system and strategic framework and our 5 key roles within this field. Our self-improving education system transformation programme will support this work. We also believe that through the Norfolk Learning Collaborative system-led work, comprised of colleagues across the education sector, which bringing leaders together, pooling their extensive knowledge and resources to establish projects which improve outcomes and standards. This group dovetails into the Department of Education RISE initiative, which delivers targeted support to schools where outcomes are not as strong, and the paper goes on to more detail at the start of page 522, then into the Appendix 2 within your papers today. And in Appendix 1 you will also find the Norfolk Schools landscape. Again, this report is comprehensive, but this really is a living document subject to a myriad of changes along the way, especially with the potential current political landscape changes on the horizon, where we are not the decision makers. I would also inform you that our newly formed Children's, Families and Community Select Committee has also made recommendations which have been most helpful and included. I have given Cabinet this morning a whistle-stop tour of our paper, but hopefully giving a flavour of the work being pursued and undertaken. And recommendations can be found on page 523. I thank all officers who have worked on this report and everyone with our school teams, especially John Cowley and his team. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments or questions? Councillor Plant?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm going to be difficult, but I think that's a difficult area we're in. I look at the 5 key roles the local authority wishes to play, and the last 4 are fine. I haven't got a problem with that. When you become the champion of all children, which we should be, which is always a great ambition, but then including provision for vulnerable groups in education, without the financial backing to make that a possibility, we are potentially and are currently spending more money than we're getting in on these services. We're taking money from other services to find the shortfall in children's services, to find the shortfall in adult social care. And we've done that now for 10 years. We've been doing it for quite a long while, in making sure that these services do get the monies that's needed to provide the services that we would have the ambition to be the champion of all children. But I think the reality is that we can't keep doing that. We need more money from central government. We need more money in the pot, because I think if you read through the report, you'll find that Norfolk has a greater percentage of children with need and SEND. We spend £70 million a year in taking them to school and back, just on the transport. And I think that there's a need here for central government to reassess everything that's going on in the education system, because I don't believe we're the only council in the country that's got this problem. I think this is a national problem. And I think this is an absolutely great ambition for Norfolk and the services. But I still think that following on from all these ambitions is the cost to the taxpayer or the ratepayers. If it was a cost to the taxpayer and it was central, it'd be different. But we are upping the rates in order to try and keep a balanced books, if you like, on the back of increased need, increased expenditure, and the inability to be able to just pull it out of the capital pot to make these things happen. So we need capital to make the schools better for SEND, and we're getting pushback from the schools. A lot of the schools are not in our gift, they are trusts. And whilst that happens, we won't have the provision for the SEND children in this county. So I think it's really important that we do work in partnership, and it mentions in the paper about working in partnership. I think that's great. But with that partnership, there's a carrot and a stick. I seriously think if they don't take on the responsibility of the SEND as is needed going forward, then I don't know how this is going to work. And it's one of those things where it's a great ambition, and we will work to make it happen. But without the money, we're always going to be on the back foot. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jemison.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to highlight 3 key points that I drew from this excellent report, and I felt that a crucial phrase is the one that this is a case-by-case basis. So when we're looking at school roles, there should be no thought that there is any sort of blanket rule on size. This is a collaborative conversation with the education sector. It's being done on a mature basis in order to get ahead of the problem, rather than have to make up ground behind it. So this is what this item does. It creates a conversation, simply that. Secondly, on performance, I would say that there are definitely green shoots in terms of performance. There is a slight improvement, particularly in secondary, where we are now at the national average, but there should be no getting away from the fact that our primary schools still need to improve. But I think that the role for Norfolk County Council within that is strategic and it is key. But we are a convener. As Councillor Plant has said, we pay for the kit, but we are a convener. Schools will have to stand on their own 2 feet in order to continue that performance. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? No one is indicating. We know it's a worrying demographic that our population in Norfolk is ageing, and that adds pressure to the cost of social care in our county. But it's important that we encourage collaboration between our schools, because we can see that there is a problem on the horizon, and we have to anticipate the need for places, and we have to have those difficult conversations with individual schools. We're also waiting for government funding for 2 of new special educational needs schools that we thought we were going to be able to build, and they still haven't approved that yet. And we know that the special educational needs demand in this county is quite extreme and higher than in a lot of other places. Now, there could be 1 or 2 reasons for that. One, because we're very good when we do assessments with the HCPs. We're quite efficient at that, and we do identify children who have special educational needs and need care plans. And secondly, I think a lot of people will move to Norfolk because they see Norfolk as a place where they will get that help for their children, where maybe they don't get quite so much in other areas. And I've seen that on social media, where parents have come forward saying they've come to Norfolk because they know that their children will get the help that they need in Norfolk, because we are quite good at doing that. We're very efficient, and we do look out for our children. We are responsible for education, but the academy system, of course, means that we have to work in collaboration with them. And the other thing that we have to worry about is that we are expected to raise our council tax to the maximum 5% by this government. They're not giving us any leeway to actually look at what our options are. Otherwise, I think we may get penalised. And we know that special educational needs, we're in the safety valve programme because the government have underfunded us for many, many years in terms of the provision that we have to provide by statute, but we don't get the money to actually pay for. So it's worrying times all round, but this council will always do the best it possibly can to provide the best education for all of Norfolk's children. You can be sure of that. And this policy and strategic programme is a good piece of work that shows how we are going to do that moving forward and how we're going to continue to make sure that our schools improve in their performance. I'll move you now to the recommendations. That's on it's on 499 of my big tome. But so there are 4. I'm not going to read them all out, but we're endorsing our role within the system. We are confirming the initial strategic outcomes. We've asked to review and approve the approach for the programmes of work, and to consider the proposal for us to coordinate an intelligence-based partnership to managing changes in pupil numbers, which is one of the major issues we now have to consider. So can I ask for all those in favour to please show?
Agreed.
Thank you. So we'll move on now to item 11, which is the Get Norfolk Working Local Plan. It starts on page 556 of the agenda, and I'm going to ask Councillor Fabian Eagle to introduce it, please.
Thank you. So this is the development of Get Britain Working Local Plans, and they are central to the ambition for a thriving and inclusive labour market, prominently aimed at achieving a national and respective Norfolk 80% employment rate. The Get Norfolk Working Plan is intended to establish a comprehensive system-wide approach to addressing both supply and demand side challenges in our labour market, and it aims to address issues related to labour market participation, career progression, earnings and job quality across the county. The Norfolk Plan places a focus of support across a wide range of our economically inactive residents, those whom with the appropriate and timely support seek assistance in finding suitable and fulfilling work. Details of its objectives will benefit both the aspirations of these residents and businesses seeking new skills and a more and diverse, inclusive workforce. I would also include there will be support for those that wish to go self-employed. In the plan's approach, it emphasises an increased engagement in community settings, seeking the improved access for residents to engage with available supported employment services. And it offers improvement in the pathways available for individuals, methods through which ongoing support might be visible and experienced by residents, the right help at the right time by a suitably placed organisation. Importantly, and in foundation, the Norfolk Plan proposes increased collaboration, bringing together our health, employment and skills services, recognising that the employment journey for many includes these component parts, each contributing to ensure that our residents are supported and equipped to enter work opportunities. And this has all been produced following a significant consultation across a wide range of our voluntary community sector, public health, integrated care and the Department of Work and Pensions. And I do hope you all approve this paper, please.
Thank you. Any comments or questions on this paper? Councillor Wymark.
Thank you, Chairman. I really welcome this paper. I think we've always known for a long, long time, really, that people are better in work than out of work. It's better for their mental health, it's better for their physical health. And once again, I think this paper focuses upon people's ability. You know, we focus too much sometimes on disability, and we need to support people with disabilities, but we also need to recognise that even with a disability, people have enormous ability. So I think for me, that's the focus here of this paper, and I'm really pleased to see it. And I hope we can support people who, you know, who can work to get into work and do better things. So I really support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bensley.
Yes, thank you, Leader. I just want to echo Councillor Wymark's comments. This paper is really, really proactive, and it also gives you stimulation where if you're not the best academic in Norfolk, there's still opportunities for you out there if you're more hands-on. I know I'm very much more hands-on, and that was good to see the member recently going back to his native skills with auctioning in Suffolk. So with him helping as well, putting actual boots on the ground and highlighting our valuable market spaces in and around Norfolk. We have Kings Lynn, Suffolk, obviously Great Yarmouth, marketplaces, market trade, and just normal human interaction. And that's a skill in itself, but to do everything, and this covers everything from, as I said, from school pathways to growing older and learning skills all the time. You're never too old to learn a new skill, and the labour and the skill shortages are out there, and documents like this, and to show how proactive we are into learning something new at any age, it can only be a good thing. So thank you, Leader.
Thank you. Councillor Jemison.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd like to share my thanks to Councillor Eagle for this timely report. Of course, NEET's numbers are rising here in Norfolk, and you know, funding is not directly available to us to fund the provision, although, of course, we are, as in so many other areas, ultimately held responsible, irrespective of that lack of funding. Now, it's not about, of course, people staying in school so much, or that maybe that's what would be the right thing to do, whether it's A-levels or for others what that might be. But you know, it is to provide a place or a route into the workplace. And I think that this is an excellent paper which will genuinely and practically help that. So thank you.
Thank you. I mean, there are going to be changes, of course, in adult education, certainly coming forward. If we have a mayoral combined authority, that will be something that will go to the mayor under devolution, and we will get control of the budget at last, because at the moment the budget on adult education is spent centrally, and we don't necessarily know who the providers are or what the courses are that are being provided. And this gives us an opportunity to tailor those things to the people of Norfolk and what they need. And on top of that, with the investment fund that will come with devolution, there's the opportunity to put more money, if we want to, into adult skills and into precisely this area so that we can help people get into work no matter what their background or their skill base is. So there's an opportunity to do far more than we've ever been able to do. This is all a good thing. When I went to City College earlier in the year, one of the issues they have is it's not that they don't have the students coming forward, it's finding tutors who can actually do that job because they can't afford to pay them the sort of wage that they would get if they were actually out there in the field doing the job themselves. So we need high quality tutors, and we need to perhaps be able to subsidise those tutors so that they are able to take a day out of their busy week and teach students so that we can bring more people forward. And that was looking at electricians and plumbing, so very basic skills. And we know if you've ever tried to find an electrician or a plumber, you know, they are like hen's teeth, and they are quite expensive people to employ because they are highly skilled. So we can get more people into that. We're certainly going to need them if we're going to meet all these housing targets that are being thrown at us. We've done a lot towards this. We've increased our bus services so that people do have better access to some of the colleges and the education training that is available to them. This has got to be done in the round. So I'm hoping that we can take this forward. It's a very good document. We can also look at jobs in the green economy, of course, which is very prevalent in our region, and make sure that the people who live in our county have got good, meaningful, high-paid, skilled jobs that they can look forward to going into, and we'll do our best to facilitate that moving forward. So I will now take you to the recommendations, which are on page 557. So I'm asking Cabinet to endorse this Get Work Norfolk Working Local Plan and agree to publication, and also that any further amendments and iterations can be delegated to the Director of Growth and Investment in conjunction with the Norfolk Employment and Skills Board. Can I ask for all those in favour to please show?
Agreed.
Thank you. That is agreed. So we'll move on then to item number 12, which is the Household Support Fund, round 7, and this is a progress update. It starts on page 688, and I'm going to invite Councillor Jamieson to introduce it, please.
Thanks, Chair. Yep, no, so this is a good news story because since its launch in October 2021 by the previous government, the Household Support Fund has delivered over £58 million in support to Norfolk residents who are facing financial hardship. We work closely with partners. It's an holistic scheme across the public sector, the voluntary sector, community sectors, and as a result, the fund has reached over 112,000 households each year, providing essential help during some of their most challenging times. And we were concerned that the Household Support Fund was not going to be renewed this year. I wrote to the Secretary of State, and fortunately it was maintained for this one more year. It's now clearly in its final year. But meanwhile, Norfolk County Council continues to make every pound count. We're directing resources to where they're needed most. And new initiatives this year will provide a county-wide crisis application model. It's already supported more than 2,600 residents with emergency financial help, £261,000. A school uniform voucher scheme that's processed up to 150 applications a day, helping families meet those back-to-school costs. In addition, ongoing cost of living vouchers continue to reach more than 30,000 school children each month, providing consistent and reliable assistance to families across the county. And as Windsor approaches, the Council has strategically planned seasonal support to address higher energy or health and well-being pressures, and these include targeted hardship support for older residents through adult social care and community partners. It includes warm hubs across our 47 libraries that we have in Norfolk. They offer welcoming spaces, hot drinks, advice. There are grants of between £5,000 and £20,000 to voluntary organisations for local winter initiatives. and a winter learning programme delivered by Adult Learning, building digital budgeting and cooking skills to strengthen financial resilience. The government has confirmed that the Housing Support Fund will conclude in March 2026. It is to be allegedly replaced by a new Crisis and Resilience Fund. We still await details and allocations of that, but we will meanwhile work with partners to ensure a smooth transition and ongoing support for residents who are most in need. So, in conclusion, through the Household Support Fund, Norfolk has built a robust, compassionate and responsive local safety net. Thousands of residents have avoided crisis situations, children have been better supported to learn and to thrive, older people have remained safe and connected. The fund has not only met immediate needs, but has also strengthened our long-term community resilience, leaving Norfolk better placed to support its residents through future challenges. It's the sort of thing that we can do only at scale as a single county. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Carpenter.
Thank you, Leader. Thank you, Councillor Jameson. For the children, Vouchers for the Children is one of the most important things, and it's helped thousands of children since its fruition. And I would sincerely hope that we would be able to continue that with different funding coming through. But I think it's very powerful, and it's within the paperwork. There's a case study on page 699. I won't read it out, but it is just an indication of how important and how much of a lifeline, literally a lifeline, it was to that individual. So it's really good support scheme, and long may it continue. Thank you.
Councillor Dewsbury.
Thank you. I'm really pleased that the Household Support Fund is continuing till April. As we know, in the past, we've targeted the support for older people, but as we did in previous years, our 47 libraries will once again be providing warm spaces, hot drinks and activities to support local residents. And Adult Learning will be running courses on how to manage household budgets, cooking on a budget, money management and digital skills. And the face-to-face sessions will be delivered locally in communities, but there will also be some online courses for people unable to leave their homes due to caring responsibilities. So this is all very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? I can't see anyone indicating. Yes, it's worrying, isn't it? There are many, many people out there who are still struggling with the cost of living, and we've seen how much the price of food has gone up, how much the price of fuel has gone up. And we are approaching winter pressures season when a lot more people are going to be worrying about how they're going to keep heating on and pay the bills, not just families, but older people as well. It's very concerning that we don't know how much is going to be in the new fund. We know there will be a new fund, but we won't know what our allocation will be, and we will have to cut our cloth accordingly, unfortunately. But we will continue to do our best to support our residents in the best way we can, and it's great to hear that our libraries are going to be open as warm spaces, and we'll be giving out various bits and pieces. There's usually scarves and hot water bottles and all sorts of things we can do and make people a nice hot cup of tea so you can actually get somewhere warm if you can't have the heating on at home during the day. It's a lifesaver for many people, and it's great that we are able to continue to do that. So I will take you to the recommendations, which are on page 689. And it's to note the progress made to deliver the agreed allocations and activities as agreed by Cabinet in April, and the further activities planned for the winter period, and to ask officers to bring a report on the new Crisis and Resilience Fund, along with proposals for how to put the funding to good use to support those most in need in the county once the government confirmed the details of the new fund and the Norfolk allocation. Can I ask all those in favour to please show?
Agreed.
Thank you. So we'll move on then to item 13, which is the work of the Norfolk Safeguarding Adults Board in 2024-25. This comes under Councillor Thomas's portfolio, but she cannot be with us today. So she's given me her introduction to the report, which is that this annual report highlights the wider partnership's adult safeguarding activity during 2024 and 25, and you'll see that in Appendix A. It sets out the work done to safeguard those at risk of abuse and harm in a very busy and challenging time for all involved within the safeguarding adults arena, particularly with challenges posed by rising demand, financial pressures for all, and complexities of working across systems that will see significant change. So key achievements and activity during 2024-25 that she wanted me to highlight are learning from safeguarding adults reviews, and we published 4 in that period, including the review for Adult P in February 24, which provided critical insights into systematic issues, including delays in emergency responses and the effectiveness of community alarm systems. So those recommendations prompted the NSAB and its partners to implement changes aimed at improving risk assessments and interagency communication, and that safeguarded and enhanced the well-being of vulnerable adults. So in collaboration with Suffolk's Safeguarding Partnership, we saw the relaunch of the Herbert Protocol, which included an engaging animation and an awareness-raising campaign. And it's had over 1.9 thousand views on the YouTube channel, so 1,900 views. And the web page with the link is the 4th most visited since the animation launch. So that's a really good news story. Homelessness, the board introduced a new subgroup on homelessness to ensure a coordinated response to the recommendations made in the ministerial letter of May 2024. And partnership actions working towards eliminating racism at work. And the organisational e-learning on the subject has been accessed by more than 3,000 people and by 300 care advisors. It's another good success story. We also held 10 webinars in this year and had a total of 1,029 people who signed up to attend, and that's double the number from the previous year. And of those, 753 turned up and 217 gave feedback, and nearly 100% said the webinars met the learning outcomes where those had been set. So this has all been absolutely fantastic work. We must thank our officers and all those involved in the Safeguarding Adults Board and our partners, and also across borders with our Suffolk colleagues as well. Can I ask, are there any comments or questions on this paper, please? Councillor Wymark.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to welcome this report. It was very well received at the Health and Wellbeing Board, and all of the partners felt it was an excellent document, and obviously, you know, strategically put in place to support our vulnerable residents, many of whom, well, don't know how to report the difficulties they're going through, but this helps them to do it, or certainly the systems within it will help them so that they can be supported in their moments of need, which, you know, unfortunately safeguarding does happen in all sorts of different scenarios, all sorts of different places, and we need to be very aware so that we can support people when it's necessary. But yeah, it was very well received. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jemison.
Thank you, Chair. No, just the report does indeed set out its achievements very clearly, but I would just like to add that the Safeguarding Board, of course, is a board set up to cover the whole of Norfolk. And it is, in my opinion, yet another example how splitting the county up will just simply cut up this extremely effective body and therefore reduce its practicality thereby. Thank you.
Thank you. I can't see anyone else indicating, but I would like to endorse what Councillor Jamison's just said. People at risk and safeguarding is one of our primary duties here as a county council. And the concern is that if you start putting barriers in and you start creating these new artificial borders, that people may fall through the cracks. And it's also a great concern to our partners in the police and in the health service that we keep Norfolk whole, certainly for safeguarding practices, because we can't afford to let those very vulnerable people down. So I'll move you to the recommendations now. They're on page 702, and it is to endorse and comment the contents of the annual report for NSAB, which we've done, and to promote their work to the public via social media, enabling more people to see it, helping to give important safeguarding message to Norfolk communities. Can I ask for all those in favour to please show?
Agreed.
Thank you. So we'll move on to item 14, which is the Adult Social Services Strategic Principles. This is the transformation approach. This again comes under Councillor Thomas's portfolio. This is an incredibly important document. It's about how we are going to be moving forward and organising ourselves for the future in adult social care. So this paper establishes key building blocks that will provide a base for the future transformation of adult social services. It builds the right conditions to deliver the transformation, and the scale of the opportunity is really significant. So the department has established 6 portfolios of work that will deliver the change, and they focus on communities and neighbourhoods, population health management, relational practice, which is social work practice grounded in relational and asset-based approaches, intermediate care, complex community support, and commissioning. And those are being delivered by cross-functional teams across the adults department. Teams across Norfolk County Council and wider partners in Norfolk, including the NHS. So this transformation will drive significant benefits, including financial benefits. And the financial benefits will be driven by the quality outcomes we anticipate from our transformation, mostly through empowering residents and communities, and thus manage demand for services and provide associated financial benefits. We have local evidence that this works, and our proactive intervention Falls work using artificial intelligence has elements of these models already delivering for the people of Norfolk. So there's a potential opportunity benefit of between £19.5 and £41 million over the 4-year programme. And the really good thing is that our teams really get this. Our staff have got right on board with this. They have engaged with it. They want to experiment. And we know that our wider partners are also supporting us in this. So this will be a community model, and it supports our council vision for the benefits of local government reorganisation. The risk on this is timing. We need to deliver at pace in order to deliver these outcomes for our Norfolk residents. And once again, we don't want to see a fragmentation of our services moving forward. This is a big piece of work, and it doesn't need to be disrupted by local government reorganisation, which then starts to break up adult social care and put any of our good work at risk. In the adults team, we were in limbo for a little while when our Director of Adult Social Care was seconded off to government, and so with our new Director of Adult Social Care who's come in and hit the ground running and has put this transformation programme in place in his previous authority, we know this will work and we know this is right for Norfolk and we need to get on with it. So has anyone got any comments or questions on this, please? Councillor Carpenter.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Children's Services have been on a transformation journey, as everyone knows, and the start of this journey is it has got the wow factor, Ian, and I know everybody is behind it. So my only comment is that I wish you well. The success of this is really on your shoulders, because I know you'll do it. And there's no pressure there. There's not meant to be any pressure. But it wowed us when you delivered this into informal cabinet, and I said there how well I thought this will work out. So thank you, and thank you for the work. And I know the staff are behind you, and it'll only work because of you and your staff. So thank you.
Councillor Wymark.
Thank you, Chairman. How do I follow that? There we go. No, I think this is a really important document, actually, overall. It aligns very much with the 10-year health plan from the NHS. And also, you may not be aware, it aligns very, very closely with the Future Shift, which is strategy for Suffolk and North East Essex, which is very much about putting people at the centre of everything we do. And it's very much about working and building relationships, so relationship-based working. And I know the director has been reaching out to our partners to see how we can work in a much more effective way. And so I welcome it very, very much. And I know we're on a very important journey, a journey we need to take. But I think working together with our partners, we can get there and we can produce a better service for our residents as well. And that's a really important part. And obviously, we're saving money, but we can produce a better service for people too. So I really welcome it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Bensley.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm just going to go at this one on a different angle. I was going to speak on the last item, but I'll come in on this one. First of all, I just want to say a big thank you to Councillor Thomas for both of these items. I know some of the casework and some of the things that she has to do with her officers. I know I couldn't do it when dealing with adult social care and terrible stories and just heartache. But as I said, I'm going to come at it at a different angle where I'm in my mid-40s now and I'm coming to the age I'm looking after my parents, and no one ever teaches you at this age of how the roles reverse and how emotionally tough it can be, because your world is in bits and you have no one to reach out to. You don't know, no one tells you about what's happening. You always think your parents are superheroes, and in my eyes, mine are. But it's such a taboo subject. No one teaches you at school. No one tells you how it's going to be. But to have officers and to have empowering residents, as you said, and empowering communities with documents like this and work like this with our outstanding officers and team, for me, as a consumer of something like this, or going through a transitional purpose or using this service from this council, it's really, really, what should I say? It's quite emotional already, but it's very positive knowing that there is help out there for people when you come to this part in your life. Because as I said, it's very taboo, it's not spoken about, and when your loved ones are in need of critical help, or all 24-hour care, or just having a carer come round in the mornings to shower and look after you, there's so many variables, are so complex, but having this and the work that our teams do is really, really good, so I can only endorse it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? No one is indicating. So yes, I mean, this is about how care will wrap around the person, put the person at the centre of it, find out what it is that they actually need rather than try and impose things upon them. Sometimes we think the solution, offer somebody something they might not necessarily need or want. It's about supporting them in the community, signposting them to other support that is available to them, and making sure that the whole community wraps around that person, rather than the state taking over, which so often it does, and it's not necessarily the right way forward. People need to be able to stay in their own homes for longer and lead longer, happier, healthier lives, and that's the AI Falls programme has been a marvellous example of that, where we can actually identify people who are more at risk of having falls and potentially ending up in hospital with all the associated costs and grief that goes with that for that person, and suddenly finding that they can't look after themselves in the way that they previously could. So working together, we can ensure that people stay at home for longer and that the support they get is appropriate to their needs, and that the community is wrapped around them. And it will also help us from the finances point of view, because we only have so much money to go around, and we need to be able to target that to the people who really need it, and to support all of those others to also support themselves and their families and their communities. So this is a marvellous piece of work, and we're really looking forward to, I know it's already underway, and we're looking forward to all the milestones that we will progress through the next 4 years. So thank you very much, Ian, for all your work, and thank you to your team. And it's great that the staff can absolutely get this and get on board. The fact that they see that this is the way forward in the future is just marvellous. So thank you for that. So I'll take you to the recommendations, which are on page 755. So that is to endorse the transformation approach and to deliver adult social services strategic priorities, including the cross-organisation approach to delivering our portfolios of change and the approach to how we work using human learning systems, and to agree the resourcing plan for transformation across AESSD and wider teams in Norfolk County Council. And I ask for all those in favour to please show. Thank you. So we'll move on then to item 15, which is the risk management report, which comes under my portfolio. you will see it's the usual sort of moving feast of what's in and what's out at the moment. So I'm asking Cabinet to consider and agree the proposed changes. You will notice that there are some proposed new risks under 2.2 on page 775. Also some risk score changes, risk closure, a demotion of risk, which is my oracle because that's been in place and working for some time now, so we're pleased with that. And we're also changing the description on the Norwich Western Link project as that has changed course. So has anyone got any particular questions or comments on this report, please? No? Everyone is silent, that's good. So I'll directly straight to the recommendations then, which are on page 773. So we just need to agree the proposed changes to corporate risks since the last risk management report, which was in July 2025. And the corporate risks as at October 2025 in appendices B and C. The departmental risk summaries in Appendix D, and the full details of the red-rated risks in Appendix E, all at October 2025, and that all risk information covered within the report is satisfactory. Can I ask for all those in favour to please show? Thank you very much. So we'll then move on to item 16, which is corporately significant vital signs. It's on your supplementary agenda, page A2, and I'll hand over to Councillor Jane James to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Leader, and apologies. I've been a little bit quiet today, and hopefully the voice will hold out, so I'm going to be brief. So you've got the Q1 report in front of you. We've got 38 corporately significant vital signs. 2 aren't RAG rated, but we've got 22 who meet or exceed our targets. We've got 6 that are within the accepted tolerance of that target, and 8 that are a little bit behind. And the most important thing is here, it's a blend of outcomes and outputs, but there's also the context in which we're looking at them and what we're doing about them, and those timescales as well. So it's not just where we are, it's where we want to be and how long we think it's going to take us to get there, and those measures that come in. And I think, you know, as a whole, we look at all of our services as an organisation. You know, today we've heard about the Adults Transformation Plan, which will have a significant impact on these vital signs. Some of them are output driven, some of them are composite things that pull in a myriad of pieces. And this is the golden thread that runs through all of our services, because as the saying goes, what matters gets measured. And we think these are the important things that matter to us through our corporate plan, but also to our residents. The recommendations, I'm going to be really brief and let anybody else come in because I can feel the voice going there. The recommendations are on page A4 of your pack. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any comments or questions on this paper? Councillor Wymark.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to talk about the NHS health checks. It's obviously on here as a very green and improving area. We were asked a question earlier on from Councillor Watkins, and as it said in the response that we've sent to him, that the NHS health checks, first of all, they're free for all adults aged 40 to 74 and available from GPs and specialist providers in communities. And also we go out to the workplace. I went out with Councillor Eagle, actually, to Swaffham Market a few months ago now, and we had quite a number of people come up and have their health checks done, so it's fantastic. So we're reaching out to people, we're going to where they are. It's really, really important. And we're identifying risks early around cardiovascular disease, diabetes, you know, areas like this which are preventable. A lot of these things are preventable where we can reduce the impact upon people. So I think it's really, really important to actually understand that we're doing what we need to do in this area. And once again, in response here, it says, since 2022-23, the performance in Norfolk has actually exceeded both the East of England and England averages. I think it's really important to actually recognise that we're going out there, we're doing the job. And the other thing was health visiting around public health as well. Health visiting has not been quite where we've wanted it to be, but it's improving massively. We're nearly where we want to be, but as I say, that is improving too. So I just want to say that. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bensley.
Yes, thank you, Leader. I just wanted to highlight on page 19 of 25 of the supplementary agenda, the infrastructure column. I know the kilograms of residential household waste per person per year is improving, which is good to see from us all. But also I just wanted to, forgive me Councillor Plant, I'm just going to highlight your bit here, and great work by the way, in regarding the percentage of highways defects that are looked at within a certain timescale. I know it says static there, but that overall is a fantastic achievement. And can I just highlight, whilst I'm on this point, Norfolk County Council, under Councillor Plant and all the operatives that are out there doing our highways, I know we do get our fair amount of ribbing, shall I say, regarding potholes, but our roads are really, really unique. They're an asset. They are well maintained. They're looking really, really well at the moment. But to be in the Daily Mail, as we were highlighted recently, national paper, into how well we are doing with the limited money that we have got, with the tools that we've got, what we're providing. As I said, under a strict budget, Councillor Jameson, I know that, thank you. And under that, it's really, really good. And I just wanted to pass on my thanks to Councillor Plant and the team for delivering for Norfolk at a certain, because that must be hard. You've only got a certain amount of money, but them highways, we do get, as I said, fair ribbed about it. But can I just ask members of the public and whoever, please don't put it on Facebook. Tell us local members, email us. You've got Norfolk County Council, you've got every tool out there. If you see an obstruction, or if you see something that needs some help, or if you see a defect, let us know, because we won't know. Not all of us are on Facebook. Let us know, and we'll get it sorted. You know, like at the old train stations, see it, say it, sort it. Email us, and we will. That's what we're here for, local members for local issues. But I'll leave it there. But as I said, big thanks to the Highways team. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you. Councillor Carpenter.
Yeah, I'm on. On page A12, vital signs, health visiting score, the target is 81%, current performance is 75.2%, improving, expected to reach target date this September, gone. These mandated checks on evidence-based child health and development reviews, for me, are the most important thing we can ever do. Get in early, check the children, baby safety, nutrition, and child development, and supporting parents. And I think for the health visitors, do an amazing job. And I think we need more health visitors, to be honest. We haven't got enough. That is one of the best things we can do, is to get in early. So I'm very pleased to see this, and I'm very pleased it's improving. I would like to see a target of 100%, but at some stage. But it's one of I can't stress enough how important the health visitors are, because they spot things before others spot them, and they can take actions. So for me, to have a health visitor coming and visiting children in their homes is one of the most important things we can ever do. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Plant.
Yes, thank you. Just following on from my colleague's comments earlier. Norfolk roads. We were in the Daily Mail, and the reason we're in the Daily Mail is because Norfolk, for every mile, has 1.3 potholes, whereas the rest in the paper were somewhere in the region of between 8 and 10 potholes per mile. And this is all part of a surface dressing regime that we started many years ago to prevent potholes forming in the first place. We get a lot of criticism about surface dressing, thinking it's a resurface. It's not. It's a dressing to stop potholes forming. And it's been really successful, and now it's been recognised nationally that Norfolk is the one area, or one of the areas, that others are now trying to emulate. And that is really important, because at the end of the day, it means that we've had a plan, we've worked to that plan over the years, we've reduced the amount of potholes across Norfolk, and like my colleague has said, you don't report them through Facebook. We don't read Facebook. We report them through the email address, the website, or you talk to your local councillor directly, and they will report it for you. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think in Norfolk we're very, very lucky, in as much as that the amount of potholes that we have is so minimal compared to our surrounding neighbours. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Oh, well, I must admit, I carry a picture of that map that the Daily Mail produced, because when I get criticism on social media and they're moaning about pothole, I say, well, actually, no, Norfolk is very good at this. And you've only got to look at that. And I'm sorry to have to say that Suffolk do come close second, but they are second again. And the same with Cambridgeshire and Peterborough. Our neighbouring authorities don't do as well as we do. And you consider how many thousands of miles of roads we have, how difficult it is to keep on top of all of those. 6,000, I'm told. There you go. So how difficult it is to keep on top of all of those. And Councillor Benz is absolutely right. We do have, on our website, it's easy to report a pothole. If you just type it into a search engine, Norfolk County Council potholes, it pops up and you can report it there and you get an inquiry number so that if it doesn't get fixed in a timely manner, you've got an inquiry number to go back and find out what the issue is. And that's the way to get it done. And I point this out to people whenever they complain. I say, here's the inquiry number. I put it up on the social media along with a picture that actually proves that we're really good at this. And then you get some comments where people say, well, actually, yes, if you leave the county, if you drive over the border and you go into one of the neighbouring counties, they recognise that and they then do see the difference. Some people never leave the county and I don't blame them for that. So maybe they don't realise just how good we are at this. But we are very good indeed. The other things in this report that I wanted to just point out were the improvement in our emergency response time in the Norfolk Fire and Rescue Service, which is fantastic, and that's reporting as green. Our new employee retention rate has improved. We are a good employer. We hang on to our staff. It's another good reason why we should have a single county unitary and continue to do what we do, looking after our staff and our employees. And lastly on here, the Norwich Castle Keep project, which has now come to fruition and is open. We put in £12 million to that project, more than 13 million from the National Lottery Heritage Fund. Anyone who's been to the castle recently it's the wow factor. You walk into that main banqueting hall upstairs, through that fantastic blue leather door. I'm very proud that all the ironwork on it some of it's been copied from the Raveningham Church, which is in my division, just like to point that out, from medieval church. And that's now been reproduced in the castle, which is fantastic. I've been in and out of there on several occasions now with various functions, and I just like to follow people up the stairs and watch the expressions on their face when they first see that banqueting hall and how amazing that castle is. And remember, it's completely accessible. Anyone can go everywhere. You can get right onto the battlements, whether you're in a wheelchair or if you've got walking sticks or whatever. Everyone can get everywhere. Nowhere is excluded from our public. And we hope that will bring in lots of money, lots of tourism, and it's also educating our children into what a fantastic place Norwich is. And the wider Norfolk, we were the second medieval city, and you can see from all the artefacts that are displayed in there just how amazing our city and our county are. So great to see that in there, and that's been safeguarded for many, many generations to come now. So let's look at the recommendations, which are on page A4. One is to review and comment on the end of Q1 performance data and associated narrative, and 2 is to agree the 35 highlighted actions are set out. Can I ask for all those in favour to please show?
Agreed.
Thank you very much. So we'll move on to item 17, which is the Finance Monitoring Report 2025-26 P5, August 2025. Starts on page 855, and I'll hand over to Councillor Jemison, please.
Thank you, Chair. So, as always, the Finance Monitoring Report provides Cabinet with the Council's overall financial position. As Lee's just said, in this case, it's to the end of August 2025, or period 5. It covers revenue budget, the reserves, the capital programme, and any new funding allocations. And it highlights the key cost pressures, as well as any progress on savings and the continuing financial management of demand-led services. And as you all know, the approved net revenue budget for 25-26 is £571,873,000. And, as at the end of August, there was a forecast overspend of £4,679,000, or 0.8% of that budget, and that's what we're reporting today. It's down from 8.5 million overspend in the forecast period 4, which is largely due to continued work by Children's Services, where the overspend there has been forecast to be reduced from 11.25 million to 8 million, as well as an increased underspend reported in infrastructure. Looking specifically at what individual directors are reporting then, Children's Services, I say, their overspend, 8 million equals 3.2% of their overall budget. To put it in perspective, it's mainly due to external residential placements continuing to be enormous financial pressure for us, as well as the evergreen home-to-school transport. Preventative work has reduced the number of children in care now to around 925, although you should always remember that there's a small group with highly complex and therefore highly expensive needs, which continues to drive costs. We have a best value plan in place to deliver further in-year mitigations. Adult social care currently forecasting a balanced position. There's a small purchase of care pressures, but these are offset by vacancy management. The savings for this department equals about 8% of their net budget, but they're on track to achieve that, for which it is to be commended. As mentioned, infrastructure forecasts an underspend. It's now risen to 1.55 million, largely due to lower waste volumes, but also to additional income on highways. And in finance, there is an underspend of 1.77 million, which was reported last month as well, arising from favourable interest rate movements in our favour and also on the central pay award. So overall then, the reduction in the forecast overspend to less than 1% of the revenue budget shows that the direction of travel that we go on is the right one, that services continue to deliver substantial savings without reduction in frontline provision, and that we continue to demonstrate our track record of closing gaps in the budget in year. In terms of the capital programme, combined directorship estimates for the capital programme for 25-26 are now forecast to total 318 million. That's down from 376 million pounds this year, of which 106 million is forecast to have to be provided by prudential borrowing. So, although the programme remains affordable and is largely financed through a combination of grants and capital receipts, that prudential borrowing figure will need to halve, and both the finance department and spending departments have been tasked with that. Major schemes this year just include in highways and transport, the resurfacing and maintaining works on the A148, the Pakenham Holt route there, the school estate improvements, there's any number of improvements there, adult care modernisation, we're continuing to deliver that, and of course waste infrastructure is continually being upgraded. We have received new funding. The Council received 5.466 million in the school condition and capital grants there, plus basic needs funding. So in conclusion, I would say that the Council's financial position remains stable and well managed. The modest forecast overspend is expected to reduce as mitigation plans take effect. Prudent use of reserves, tight control of demand-led budgets and effective capital delivery ensure that Norfolk continues to provide value-for-money services while investing in essential infrastructure for both residents and for communities. But I freely acknowledge that financial pressures are enormously high at the moment, and we will need to keep our sails extremely tight if we are to achieve a balanced budget in this coming year. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions on this report? No, I can't see anyone indicating. Thank you for that, Councillor Jemison. Once again, you've demonstrated that we are a prudent and responsible council that lives within its means. We provide quality and value for money services in what continues to be a very challenging financial environment. And I'd like to thank the staff for all their efforts, because I know that they are constantly looking at ways to stay within the budget while still providing all the services that our residents need and deserve. So I will point you to the recommendations then, which start on page 855 and go on to page 856. There's 9 of them. I'm not going to read them out, but they are in front of you. Can I ask for all those in favour to please show?
Agree.
Thank you. So we'll go on to item 18, which is Strategic and Financial Planning 2026 to 27, and I will hand over to Councillor Jamieson to introduce the report that starts on page 895.
Thank you, Chair. This report, colleagues, is an important milestone in the development of our budget for the forthcoming year. In February's budget, we committed Norfolk County Council to show that it is possible to deliver high quality services whilst maintaining sound financial management, and through careful planning, through prudent investment and a relentless focus on efficiency, our strategic aim remains to protect essential frontline services and continue to drive better outcomes for residents. Despite a backdrop of rising demand and economic uncertainty, we have so far achieved significant savings over the years through smarter commissioning, through shared procurement, through digital transformation and service redesign. These measures are not about cuts, but about value. We are ensuring that every pound that we spend delivers the maximum possible benefit. This disciplined approach is enabling us to absorb inflationary pressures and growing demand while keeping the Council on a sustainable financial footing. However, as the report makes clear, much is needed to deliver a robust budget. Therefore, it is vital to recognise why the financial pressures on local government, and particularly on Norfolk, remain so acute. Adult social care and children's services now account for over 2/3 of the Council's total spend. Costs in these areas continue to rise sharply, driven by demographic change, by the complexity of need, and the sustained impact of inflation upon care markets. In adult social care, an ageing population means that more residents require higher levels of support for longer. Providers face increasing costs for staff, energy and accommodation, all of which are passed on to councils. In children's services, demand for placements, special educational need provision and safeguarding continue to grow. These are not discretionary services. These are statutory duties that reflect our moral and our legal responsibility to protect Norfolk's most vulnerable residents. At the same time, the government's funding assumptions for local government effectively presumes that Norfolk will increase council tax by the full 4.99% in 26-27. That includes, of course, the 2% adult social care precept. This expectation is built directly into national forecasts of local authority spending power. That assumption shifts the burden of maintaining these essential services onto local taxpayers. It is, in truth, an unfunded mandate, one that leaves councils to absorb the financial consequences of national policy decisions without being given the resources to match. You have seen recent reports, including the Financial Times article highlighting the pressures faced by Kent County Council. And these have underlined the stark reality that many councils are now at breaking point. Reform UK, of course, claimed that there were easy savings to be made, yet they have clearly been unable to identify a single credible or significant cut from Kent's budget that the previous Conservative administration had not already put in place. And in fact, most reform councils are now intending to raise council tax by the maximum. Lincolnshire County Council's reform leader has warned there are likely to be cuts to services. But in Norfolk, our approach has been different. Through prudent, long-term planning and an unwavering commitment to value for money, we have avoided the kind of emergency measures now seen elsewhere. We have not had to resort to short-term cuts to balance the books. Instead, we have protected service levels, supported vulnerable people, and continued to invest in Norfolk's future, all while delivering a balanced budget and a clear path towards financial sustainability. Indeed, the excellent proposals brought forward by the Director for Adult Social Care in that earlier item are a very good example of how this administration drives value for money and better services through an ongoing transformation programme. However, I am the first to recognise that a significant gap remains. Table 5 of our medium-term financial strategy illustrates this clearly. The savings that we are proposing are not reductions in services, but they are efficiencies arising from the aforementioned transformation programs. Just by way of example, I would include digital and automation programs in back office functions, reducing administrative overheads, smarter procurement in adult social care and transport contracts, delivering better value without compromising quality. There's an ongoing property rationalisation and energy efficiency improvements, which are lowering running costs across our estate, and service integration and early intervention put in place by Children's Services are helping families sooner and avoiding high-cost placements later. These are all the hallmarks of responsible financial management. Their savings achieved through innovation and partnership, not at the expense of frontline delivery. However, I repeat, in spite of the significant proposals already identified, we continue to face a substantial gap which needs to be addressed in order to enable a balanced budget to be proposed for 26-27. Our current forecast suggests a gap of 25 million, as set out in paragraph 5.6. That said, our task has been made considerably more difficult by ongoing national uncertainty. The government has yet to publish the outcomes of the SEND review or to clarify the implications of the long-promised fair funding review. These omissions make it difficult to plan with confidence for the years ahead. Equally, the late timing of the autumn budget means that key details in the local government settlement will not be available until mid-December at the earliest. And this delays our ability to model funding scenarios and prepare the balanced 2026-27 budget as we are required to do by law. Such late announcements undermine the stability that councils need to manage resources effectively and deliver services with confidence. Government's anticipated long-term settlement may help to address this. We'll await details later in the year. But despite all these challenges, I want to emphasise that Norfolk County Council is not standing still. Under this administration, we have continued to invest in the fabric of our county and the well-being of our residents. And this administration continues to prioritise tangible service improvements. For example, last year we increased the number of hazardous waste collection days across the county, supporting residents and improving environmental safety. We've expanded investment in our main footpaths and rights of way, recognising their importance for accessibility, for health and for tourism. We've increased funding for local bus services and community transport, ensuring rural connectivity. We've continued to support all 47 libraries, community hubs, helping residents cope with the cost of living and access digital services. And we have sustained investment in flood resilience and green infrastructure, ensuring Norfolk is as prepared as it can be for the future. We've increased such things as the number of roadside verge cuts, as our residents and road users are constantly requesting. Support our small businesses and high streets by innovative, cost-effective schemes such as the Go Digital and High Street Matters, which have attracted national recognition. These initiatives demonstrate that sound financial management and service improvement can go hand in hand. In difficult times, Norfolk has chosen the responsible path, prudent, realistic and forward-looking. We are balancing the books without cutting corners, protecting the vulnerable and investing in the county's long-term prosperity. That's not just good finance, it's good local government. Thank you.
Thank you. Have any comments or questions on this report, please? Councillor Eagle.
Thank you. And it is refreshing to actually hear that, you know, there is a local authority actually doing things. And I think many of us take there as councillors, and we take under a bit, to misquote Monty Python, what does Norfolk County Council ever do for us? And I know a lot of the important services are there in the background, and you don't actually notice how much we have to supply and do till you actually need them. But it is good to see that we are still making sure that those items that our residents can see and actually appreciate on a day-to-day basis are actually there and being used. And it also proves on a point that we're delivering cost-effective measures there, and we're not just throwing money at something to say, oh whoopee, we're throwing millions at this. We're delivering the money and the amount it needs trials to work up to it. And I think that just shows there is a comparison between those that just have wishful thinking and can just shout off and do everything. We've proven what we can do.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? No, I can't see anyone else indicating. I mean, every year we seem to start the budget process earlier. As the financial hill gets ever steeper, it's like one of those treadmills, and they adjust the angle, and you find that you're going faster and uphill every year, more and more. And if government funded us on a per capita basis in the way they fund some other councils, then we wouldn't have some of these difficult choices to make or have to be so efficient. Maybe that's not necessarily a good thing. Maybe they need to be more efficient like we are. And of course we are a very rural area, so a lot of things are a lot more expensive to deliver in Norfolk than they would be in perhaps a London borough. The other thing that of course we are facing is we've got local government reorganisation that's been thrust upon us, which wasn't in the manifesto. None of us anticipated that. It's sort of been dropped on us from a great height, and it's not funded. Anything that we do in terms of reorganisation has to be found from savings, as they say. So that is why a single county unitary is the only sensible option. It's the only one that is actually going to find substantial savings in delivering services while by amalgamating 8 councils into one council that can be efficient whilst being local at the same time. We don't have the luxury of choosing 2 or 3 unitaries. You have to think of all the associated costs that come with just setting up an organisation like that. So if we want to safeguard our vital services, there is only one solution, and that's a single county unitary. And the thing I think that most shocks me and worries me is the business cases that we've seen coming forward for the 2 and 3 option just don't stack up. They are not financially viable. It's dangerous, it's willful gerrymandering of figures, and there's no substance to them. And this government would be extremely irresponsible to even consider them as vaguely credible options. We know what the figures are. Ours can be looked at in depth and we can explain them. You can't do that with the other 2 options on the table. They are a wish list of what they would like to see. And if we had endless pots of money to throw at it, you could have as many councils as you like. That's not the situation we're in. This government is putting the squeeze on us, and we have to be sensible about it. And we are sensible. We're always sensible. We always balance our budget. We always come forward with the solutions, and we provide over 85% of all services in this county already, most of them into people's homes. And you can't get more local than that. So, on that note, on that happy note, I will take us to the recommendations, which are on page 897 and 898. There are 12 recommendations, so I won't read them out. They are in front of you. Can I ask for all those in favour to please show? Thank you. So that brings us to the last item on the agenda. I know it's been a long one this morning. Judging by the paperwork, you knew it wasn't going to be an easy one. It's item 19, which is reports of the Cabinet member and officer delegated decisions made since the last Cabinet meeting. And there is only one, which is in Communities and Partnerships, which was the Empowering Communities Partnership item. So that brings me to the end of the meeting. And the next meeting will be on Thursday, this Thursday, the 16th of October, at 2 p.m. or on the Rise of Council, whichever is later, when we will be considering devolution and whether we take devolution forward in Norfolk and follow our colleagues in Suffolk. So thank you everyone for attending, and I'll let you all go home now.